is up? And welcome back to Beyond the Arc with Brandon Silvers. As always, I am your host, Brandon Silvers. Monday, January 20th, on ESPN, 7:30 Eastern Time, Notre Dame takes on Ohio State for the College Football National Championship. I could talk about it alone. However, why would I do that? That'd be stupid. So I brought on my co-host from the Gamecocks Football Captain's Log, the captain himself, Captain PD Inabinett. PD, thank you for joining me. How are you doing?
Doing all right. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So we get to talk about, since our Gamecocks were robbed in the playoff, we get to talk about this national championship game. But first, I do want to talk about year one of the 12-team college football playoff. What were your takeaways from it? Did it really solve the issue that it was allegedly set out to solve to begin with, or?
No, we just got shitty teams that it shouldn't have been in the playoffs. Like this, for no fucking reason, and it's absolutely terrible.
You didn't like Indiana?
Indiana was not good. SMU was not good. Clemson was not good. Like, what are we didn't solve anything here as far as, especially with it making these automatic bids. That just was the dumbest idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You definitely can't give an automatic bye to a team just because they've won a conference championship. That's crazy. No. If you want them in the playoff, okay, I get it. But a bye and home field advantage seems just wild to me.
Yeah, like we definitely the automatic bye and seeding into a Premier Bowl is absolutely absurd.
Yeah.
If you go, like, there's no reason why Boise should have had a bye. There's no reason why Arizona State should have had Arizona State, they should have had a bye. SMU, they shouldn't have even been in the whole fucking thing. Neither should Clemson. That whole conference should have just wiped off the planet.
Just get them out of here.
They're worse than the Mountain West.
Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't super impressed either. It was just
a lot of just like, these don't belong together. They're not the same league.
No, and there were so many blowouts and just so much bad football.
Yeah.
That's not really what you're wanting. I think 12 teams appears to be way too many.
If we're really just trying to get like the best teams, then yes. Maybe you could do 8 and be fine. If you do top 8 and not do automatic bids and like automatic conference champions gets in, then you'll be fine. I think you'll get you'll at least get the two best teams in the country. You'll get in there.
I was going to be even stricter than that and just go top 6 and then the top 2 get a bye.
That'd be fine.
Because this was just,
I'm not even I don't really like the bye aspect. I guess obviously you earn it. You play a tougher schedule, beat your top rank. But if I am like this year, none of the teams that got a bye actually won. They didn't make it. If I am a team, I would want to be playing consistently every week.
Yeah, stay in a rhythm.
Yeah, obviously you hope you don't get injured or something like that, but I would want to be want to be playing. I don't want to take 6 weeks off and then have to go play a game.
Yeah, that would be very tough, as we've seen. I was excited for it because I do like more football. More football does seem ideal.
We got football, all the way to the end of January, which is amazing.
Yeah, but it just didn't pull it off the way I thought they were going to.
It's not like competitive.
No.
These are not something you're going to really like watching.
And you mentioned teams who play harder schedules getting rewarded for it, but that doesn't seem like that. Like, that's ideal, but that doesn't seem what the playoff committee did at all.
No, it didn't.
So I don't know what they want. I don't know.
If you'd rewarded, top schedule, like hardest schedules, you'd have, Carolina, Ole Miss, Alabama. They'd be in the playoffs, not the third, Big 12 team or that there's like no good teams in the Big 12. None of them were
SMU,
like, yeah,
SMU killed me.
SMU was.
Oh, Lord.
ACC, is even worse. Like, I can't even imagine putting a team in there and thinking that they're going to be a contender for a national championship.
Yeah, I don't know. So we've certainly lost all of the SEC haters by now. So now we can really we can start talking about football now that all the SEC haters are gone. Do you think we got the two best teams in this national championship game with Ohio State and Notre Dame?
Definitely with Ohio State. Notre Dame, I think, has gotten real lucky.
Yeah.
Just some things have fallen their way, and who they got to play is not, was not the hardest road. So
yes.
I think we probably saw the national championship last Saturday between Texas and Ohio State.
Yes. So looking at Notre Dame's road, they beat Indiana pretty easily, 27-17. Then they beat Georgia 23-10 with Georgia was starting their backup quarterback, Gunnar Stockton, who's probably better than the starting quarterback, Carson Beck. So whatever. And then, of course, they beat Penn State with the field goal at the end, 27-24 to get here.
Yeah.
And
if you watch that game, you're just like, there's no way Notre Dame should have won that game.
No, that was just Penn State doing Penn State game. It was kind of funny because it was two teams that are pretty much known for underachieving, and then like one of them had to win.
That's exactly what happened, because there was like a 10-point swing one way, a 17-point swing the other way, another 10-point swing this way. It was not a well choreographed game. It did not. Like Penn State did. They're more of a running. They're more of a run team. That's that. And Aller fucking proved that 100%. He didn't have a single wide receiver with a catch. And all he had to go into overtime, all he had to do was not throw an interception, and exactly what happens. So good on him.
I do not get the hype with him because I had to cover the Big Ten last year. When I was writing for a different publication that I will not give free advertisement to. And so I had to watch these games, and I just could not see it with him. I know their leading receiver this year was a tight end, which kind of lets you know exactly what kind of football they're playing. And yeah, you're right. All they had to do was just go to overtime. And he said he was trying to throw the ball in the dirt for an incompletion.
30 yards downfield?
Make it exactly. Throw it out of bounds. Like, why are you trying to throw it in the dirt and you still miss the dirt?
We'll throw it out of bounds once, and it was on the very last play of the game.
Yes, when he did not need to.
He threw it 50 yards across the field and outside of bounds where nobody was even close to being able to get it.
I would have lied about that because the dirt is the biggest target you have in the stadium.
Hit your center in the back of the head or in the butt, or hit his feet. Doesn't matter. Just whatever you do, just don't throw it to the other team.
Because even an intentional grounding there doesn't hurt you. Like
you run clock off, but then so what? Just go to overtime.
Go to overtime, and you're not throwing an interception.
Run it down their throat like you've been doing the entire game. I don't know why you think why'd y'all stop that?
Insane. And that's just kind of how Notre Dame's season has gone. I don't know if they had high expectations, but they always are highly ranked in the preseason, at least.
I feel like Notre Dame always has this like a fake high expectation of themselves. They think they should be winning a national championship every year, even though they are not that good.
Yep. And so they brought in Duke transfer Riley Leonard to quarterback the team.
Who did bail them out quite a few times with his legs.
Yes. So that's the interesting point. What do you think his high for passing yards this season was?
Oh, it's high. I'd say I feel like it's too obvious. So 275.
229.
Damn, that's his high?
That's his high.
Wow. Yeah.
9 games under 200 yards passing.
I mean, they haven't really blown anybody out.
No. And then, of course, they had the embarrassing home loss to Northern Illinois in the second game of the season, which I saw a funny stat. This is the first team to lose to Northern Illinois and make the national championship game. So that was funny to me. Not a tough schedule, like you said. I will say, sixth best scoring offense, even with those passing numbers, 38.5 points a game. Second best scoring defense, only allowing 14.3 points per game. They did beat the teams who were on their schedule. Most of them. Yeah, except for Northern Illinois, which is a tough out that they should be playing here. So here we are, Marcus Freeman. They thought it couldn't be done, but here he is. He pulled it off. But you're right. I do think they probably aren't a top 2 team. However, I feel completely differently, like you do, about Ohio State. Just to kind of recap some of their season, they also have a transfer quarterback starting, Will Howard. They had the tough loss to Oregon when he forgot how clocks work.
Yep.
They have the number 1 scoring defense, even though I think of them as an offensive team. They allow just 12.2 points per game, 8th best scoring offense, 37.4 points per game. They got the 2 running backs, Travion Henderson and Quinshawn Judkins. They're really good. Again, they cannot beat Michigan for whatever reason. But this is a team I feel like under Ryan Day, I've always thought of the Big Ten teams, they're the ones who have the athleticism to keep up with the SEC teams. I think they've proven that this year. What have you seen from them in the playoff that gives you hope for them winning the national championship? You just mentioned they beat Texas. They beat Oregon in the rematch. Another SEC team in Tennessee. They blew them out. So what have you seen from them that makes you think they are one of the best teams, are the best team in the nation?
So, like Ohio State, I feel like during the season they just kind of were coasting. They knew who they were. They didn't think they had to really try that hard. And then when they got into the playoff, they were like, "Well, we're just going to fucking annihilate everyone."
Yeah,
and that's what happened against Tennessee. That's what happened against Oregon. They've just been playing on it. They were here. They took it up to here. They were on a different level. And really, they should have blown out Texas. That should have been a blowout. And I thought it was going to be like the first quarter, but then they just kept stumbling over their own feet and like getting penalties and bad times.
Yeah,
and just kind of shooting themselves in the foot way too much. And it just. Texas did. I think Texas had 58 yards rushing against them, and I think Archie Manning had 10 of them.
We've got to talk about Texas, okay?
That play calling was stupid on that last drive.
If you have less than 3 yards to go to do anything, why are you running a toss or a pitch play?
Never once. I would never ever, unless I have all 10 of them. Like all 11 defenders right over the center.
Yes.
Then I'm a pitch play.
If you're holding my dog hostage, I might do it.
Give up 5 yards to try and gain 2. Just go or put Arch Manning in. Let him run the fucking ball.
Now this is where I'm at with it.
Ridiculous.
Because with Ewers, just the way he's looked all season, I didn't think they had a chance to win a national championship if they did not give it to Arch. I thought at the very least, in those moments when you need a first down or a touchdown and you need a dual threat guy in there, sit Ewers, bring Manning in, because he'd shown against all odds, when you look at his bloodline, he can run the ball. Yeah. And Sark didn't do it. And I just couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe that. Couldn't believe the toss plays. It almost gave me a migraine. I was disgusted.
I was baffled when I saw that. As soon as I saw, oh God, it's a pitch play. Well, this is going to be a 5-yard loss immediately. And then Ewers just gets the sack fumble. And they take it that way for 90 yards.
Yeah, just the perfect ending. Just like, there we go. That's it. Thank you for showing up, Texas.
Yeah. So the entire game, they couldn't really do a lot either way. That defense is just too tough to go against. And I mean, Texas defense was really good. They stopped them a lot, but it had a lot of self-inflicted wounds by Ohio State to keep them in that game.
Yeah. And Ohio State, they did the same the whole playoffs. Like the Tennessee game was not close. Oregon never had a chance. And like you said, this really should have gotten ugly with Texas.
Yeah.
But to me, that kind of backs up what you're saying. This appears to be the best team in the nation.
Obviously.
As far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
So what would have to happen for Notre Dame to pull this off?
So, I mean, even more bad news for Notre Dame. Like the entire left side of their offensive line is injured.
Yep.
I don't see that being a good situation for them. Now Riley's probably going to be on the run a lot, and I don't see them being able to move the ball very well against this Ohio State team. And then on the other hand, Notre Dame plays a lot of man defense. And then Ohio State has some of the best wide receivers in the country. So not a great idea. I think I saw a statistic like the entire season, other teams have only played man coverage against Ohio State 19% of the time, which is telling.
Yep.
So I don't know. But Notre Dame likes to play a lot of man. So maybe do they switch it up and try and mitigate that, or they think they're just going to be that good? I don't know. But I think it's probably just going to be one shellacking by Ohio State. I don't think they're going to be able to stop Ohio State from running or passing.
It's tough because it's a 8-point spread right now, which is never what you like to see going into more than a touchdown for a national championship game is a problem.
Yeah.
Ohio State is just stacked.
Yeah.
Even like I don't love Will Howard, but he's had a very good season, almost 3,800 yards passing, 33 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. Both of those running backs have nearly 1,000 yards each. You got wide receiver after wide receiver after wide receiver. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how they do it. I've tried to figure it out because
unless they get like 12 turnovers or something. Yeah.
That's what it's going to have to come down. Like you have to hold them to field goals as much as possible and also force them to turn the ball over.
Yeah, they have to be, getting their own like penalties on themselves again for no apparent reason.
Yeah, it's going to be self-inflicted stuff.
Yeah, self-inflicted stuff is what's going to be the only way.
And I will say, like, if you're going to have an offensive line be banged up, as we Gamecock fans are familiar with, you want a mobile quarterback like Riley Leonard. He's got 16 rushing touchdowns this year. Jeremiah Love, the running back, he's got 17 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah.
But again, I just don't know, especially if you get behind early if you're Notre Dame.
Yeah.
How do you come back?
If they get behind, they're not coming back. There's no way.
No.
And I will say, like, Riley Leonard did get hits at the end of the first half of the Penn State game, and was
that looked like a concussion,
it
buddy.
looked like a concussion to everybody who saw it, and then he came
not
in
a doctor.
Game. But that will probably that could very well happen again and often against Ohio State with a banged up offensive line and a tremendous defensive line coming at you.
I could not believe he came back in the game. I couldn't believe it. I was like, what are we doing here? I guess they figured we're giving them NIL money, so go ahead. But that looked terrible, and they just did it anyways. So good luck. Way to go.
Jesus will take care of it.
Yeah, touchdown Jesus. He does it all except wins national championships, I guess. So I don't know, but I do have some questions for you.
Sure.
Okay. So this is a connections game. We're making connections throughout this national championship game. I will ask PD questions related to these connections, and he will give us answers. There are no right or wrong answers. PD, are you ready for this?
Let's go for it.
Okay. In 2003, Lou Holtz blamed Ohio State's losses on a lack of toughness. He has gone back and forth with Ryan Day ever since then. Holtz, 88-year-old former Notre Dame head coach who led them to their last national championship in 1988. How many Lou Holtzes would it take to beat up Ryan Day?
Lou Holtz today?
Lou Holtz today. Ryan Day is 45, appears to be in okay shape as well.
And Lou Holtz has got to be what, 80?
He's 88.
88. Okay. You know what? Even though Ryan Day, draws his beard on with a Sharpie.
He does.
I think he can probably take 20 Lou Holtzes if all 20 of them just laid on top of him.
What? So we're setting the over at 20. So he'd need to have 21 Lou Holtzes show up for Ryan Day to be in danger. I would watch this over the national championship game.
Oh, for sure. This put this on Netflix. It'd be better than watching Tyson and Logan.
Yeah, that would be great. We'll say again, a connection here for us. Lou Holtz, former South Carolina head football coach back in the day. A follow-up question to that. How many Ryan Days would it take to understand what Lou Holtz is saying without subtitles?
Ooh. Infinite. No one's.
There's no. Yeah, you just can't do it.
No one. It's not even doable. You just got to have him write it out.
I agree. That is the answer I would have given as well. Okay, moving on. Marcus Freeman, who may or may not draw his beard and hair on with a Sharpie as well. I don't know. Maybe I'm hating. Possibly. Maybe not.
Yeah.
He lost back-to-back BCS national championship games in 2006 and 2007 as a linebacker at Ohio State. Would you rather win a national championship as a player or as a coach?
Oh, as a player.
Yes.
100%.
That is correct. I said there were no correct answers, but there are correct answers.
Yeah.
And that is correct.
That is the correct answer. It feels good to win as a coach, but, player, you're actually on the field.
You have a more active role in it.
Yeah. Unless you're like riding the bench, I guess. If you're actually a starter.
That's true. And he was pretty good. But I feel like even if you're a walk-on, you could end up lying like 25 years down the road. So long as you have the ring, no one's going to be like, oh, you didn't play any snaps. I might make myself out to be the hero 25 years down the road.
Oh, yeah. No one's going back and check.
No.
The only one that's going to remember that is people that are older than you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you just have to.
Who cares?
Yeah. Just wait for them to die out or try to fight Ryan Day if there's 21 of them, if cloning happens.
Imagine Freeman as a linebacker at Ohio. He looks small.
He's definitely gotten more cut.
Yeah.
The dude is unreasonably handsome. Okay. And that's why I hate on him with the hairline stuff, because I think if he didn't get some add-ons at the barber, I think we might be looking at a guy who might be coming on home the way that I had to do about 50 years ago when I started losing my hair in high school. I think that because I didn't spring for it.
With hair.
What's that?
I knew you for about 6 months with hair, and then you decided you were going to shave it.
It was the right choice. It was
for 20 years now.
It was gone. It was gone. And I guess I could have gone that route where I was like, yeah, get me the Ryan Day Sharpie and let's fill this in real quick. But I chose not to. I'm a man of integrity. But yeah, Freeman, unreasonably handsome man, who I would like so much as a coach if he did not coach Notre Dame.
You know what? I feel like I don't want a handsome coach. I feel like you need to look like Nick Saban, somebody like that, or Brett Bielema.
Oh God,
that fucker.
Oh yeah, that guy. Okay,
completely focused on one thing, and that is football, coaching football, and that's it. You can't be, worried about what you look like in the mirror every morning.
This man's getting lineups. He's meal prepping. He's moisturizing. No, you need to be in your playbook trying to motivate these kids too. Like, what are you doing?
A week,
That's a great point, because you can tell he's definitely trimmed down a good bit since his playing days. And you don't do that accidentally. This guy has a solid workout routine.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's time that should be spent motivating players.
Or drawing up plays or
recruiting something. You're not recruiting people at LA Fitness.
Sleeping on the floor of your office for 4 hours every night until you win a national championship, which you never win.
Who's the most handsome coach to have won a national championship?
Handsome.
Certainly not Saban. Let's see. Urban Meyer.
Dabo, which I hate him on.
Dabo definitely out.
Pete Carroll.
Bobby Bowden.
Jimbo won one. God.
He had like a dad thing going on. I mean, Freeman would certainly be the most handsome to win ever.
Oh, what was the guy at Gene Chezik? Who's the most attractive?
That's tough. This is playing into your theory that you want an ugly coach. Jimmy Johnson. Yeah, he had like middle-aged man swagger.
Yeah.
This is a tough question, but it does back up your theory. I mean, you don't want a guy who looks too good.
No. I mean, Freeman's the only guy I ever even thought about as like even looking good.
Yeah.
A coach. I can't even think of it. I can't think of a national. I mean, we said Nick Saban, but who else has won it so many times in the last 20 years? I can't.
Yeah, it's tough. I don't think no one's competing with Freeman. We would know if someone was that handsome.
No, he's on a different. He's getting that first week bye.
Yeah, yep. He's like the Cam Newton season of handsomeness compared to what everyone else is doing.
Yeah.
So this is good in case something happens with Beamer. We'll know to write the admin and say you have to hire an ugly person.
Yes.
So
Beamer is not a particularly unattractive guy, but he's an odd-looking guy.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how to describe him, but it is. I feel like the features are there, but there's something a little scrambled, a little distorted about them.
Yeah, something about the eyes.
Yeah, they're
too big or too wide.
Yeah, there's something.
Maybe ears are a little too big, maybe.
A hint cartoonish.
Yeah,
but again, not unattractive, just different.
Yeah.
And we mentioned Lou Holtz. I don't think he's in the running, is he?
Oh, he's looked 88 since when he won the national championship.
Yes. If we were doing a coach who looked the most like Huckleberry Hound or Droopy Dog, one of these old school cartoon hound dogs, he would win.
He is a cartoon character.
Yeah.
I don't know how he coached for so many years. Because how do you understand what he's telling you? How do
he was out, gang. Yeah, I don't know.
Coach. Oh, Ed Orgeron.
Okay, now that man, just pure man's man, got the voice that where you can't really understand him either, but you know he's saying something masculine. He's telling you how to like cut down a tree or something. Okay, that might be it. Yeah. So, okay, moving on.
Yep.
We just talked about this man. He got in trouble for being too attractive for some. This is how he lost his job with the Jaguars. Urban Meyer, his Florida team actually beat Freeman's Ohio State team in the national championship game in 2006. He then moved on to coach Ohio State, led them to their last national championship in 2014. Almost always rumored to be the next head coach at Notre Dame, too. He coached wide receivers there from 96 to 2000, or returned back to Ohio State after Ryan Day loses to Michigan. Which head coach is more upset by this national title game matchup, Meyer or former Notre Dame head coach Brian Kelly, who infamously left the school and developed a fake Southern accent to go coach at LSU because he didn't think he could get that far with the Fighting Irish.
So wasn't Kelly there in like 2012 when they played Alabama and got blown out by like 28?
I believe so. Yeah.
Was that like, it's got to be like his first or second year at Notre Dame?
Yeah, that one was ugly.
Yeah. So I guess technically he did get to a national championship game with Notre Dame.
Yeah.
But
he'd probably prefer if we forgot that.
He is not doing at LSU he's not replicating the same success at LSU that he did at Notre Dame.
No.
I think it has got to be Brian Kelly because he's just never going to get a national. He's never going to get that ring when Urban Meyer has.
That's true.
And if everybody loves to hate him so much, it is so easy to hate Brian Kelly. Not that people don't love. I mean, I hate Urban Meyer as well, but
that's true.
I really think about hating Brian Kelly so much more than I do Urban Meyer.
It's so much fun to hate him. He seems like an absolute jerk.
Yeah.
Anytime they lose, because we don't have a rivalry with LSU, but anytime he loses, I'm overjoyed. It just brings me so much joy.
Who in their right mind would leave Notre Dame when they're winning? Like, unless they're being fired, no one leaves that job.
No,
or they're retiring or whatever. But that is not no one leaves that for something better. There's like 10 schools that once you get, you're not leaving.
You're there.
It's one of them.
Yep. It'd be like leaving Bama or is it like, what are you doing? Which Kalen DeBoer might have to do if he doesn't figure it out. But
yeah, they're going to chase him out of town.
Because I'm pretty sure he left prior to a playoff game. I think they'd made the playoffs and he left. Or they had just missed out on the playoffs and he left. Like they were really good that year and he just left.
Is this Freeman's third year?
He started there. He took over the bowl game after the 2021 season.
Okay, so he's been there for 22, 20. This is his third.
Yeah.
That's fine.
And look at him.
Yeah.
Better than Brian Kelly, a loser.
Look, they're struggling at LSU. You shouldn't be struggling at LSU.
LSU. Exactly.
It's LSU. It's not. It's a team that is they're always going to be in the mix. No matter who's the coach.
Okay. I'm double check. They just missed out on the playoff. I think they were number 5 out of the 4 playoff teams, and he left. And I knew when I remember seeing the video when they surprised the players with Marcus Freeman being named head coach, and it was like they had just been granted clemency from death row. Like they were overjoyed because it wasn't Brian Kelly, it was Marcus Freeman. And I was like, man, he might have something there because they were as happy as I was when Brian Kelly loses or feels pain.
And wasn't Brian Kelly the one introducing him? Like telling them that he was going to be Freeman?
No, it wasn't because he took off. Like this man left. He couldn't even be bothered to coach the Fiesta Bowl. He just took off and he was like, I'm out of here. I got to go work on sounding Cajun real quick so I can fit in here.
Just a real garbage person. Like,
yes, just awful man. Yeah. I hate him. I try to not make those judgments about people I don't know personally, but I feel like we have enough evidence in regards to Brian Kelly. And think about how bad of a person you have to seem as a college football coach to stand out as a bad person as a college football coach.
There's a lot of poor quality individuals in that game.
Yes. Like we don't want college football coaches who spend too much time on their appearance. Most college football coaches don't even bother to try to be halfway decent people. So if you're standing out in that crowd, you are terrible. And that's why I cheer against you all the time.
Like he is on I think he might have surpassed him. I can't remember what's the guy's name from that was at Arkansas. I got in the motorcycle accident.
Bobby Petrino.
Yeah. Like that is like the epitome of like trash individual, like completely should not be allowed anywhere near children.
Yep.
But Brian Kelly, if he's right there.
He's right there.
He's right there with him.
He's right there. It's impressive. And that's his only real claim to fame. And good for him. All right. So the final question, to tie it back to South Carolina football, which we talk about so often and has driven us crazy. Mm-hmm. Notre Dame was sent to the national title game on a kick by former Gamecock kicker Mitch Jeter, who left. I believe it was related to us not having a major that he wanted, so he transferred to Notre Dame. What would the Gamecock season look like if Mitch Jeter had stayed?
Well, we probably win our bowl game. We probably beat Alabama.
LSU.
Man, think about all the field goals that mattered that we had this year. Think about those being actually good ones.
Yeah. We would not have to make up scenarios where we were in the playoffs. We would just be in the playoffs. It would be beautiful.
Yeah, we would be in the playoffs. We would be. We'd have one loss maybe against Ole Miss.
Yep, Ohio State would have beat us by 30, but that's okay.
Yeah, we wouldn't. We shouldn't have been in the playoffs.
No. So let's not get crazy.
We would have been there.
Yeah, we would have been. We would have been there, like in Indiana or in SMU, and we got drilled. But it would have been nice to have been invited.
Right.
But it didn't happen. So, I think things go much differently, which was weird because normally we do have pretty good kickers. And then this year we didn't. Yeah. And it was absolutely terrible. We just had an average college kicker.
I feel like we have long runs of good kickers and then like a year or two with bad ones. And then we have another long run.
Yeah. So come on next year. I don't know who we have, but
find somebody. Please. I remember his name.
Please. We need it.
Yeah.
All right. As we finish up here, what are your predictions for the final score of the game? We do this on the Gamecocks football captain's log, where we see, for entertainment purposes, what the Dolphins have to say. I told you earlier, Ohio State favored by 8. I think if you've listened this far, you kind of have an idea of where PD may be leaning. But make it official. Tell us what the Dolphins have to say.
So thinking about this game, I actually thought that this should be a rivalry game. I always kind of associated Notre Dame with being in the Big Ten, and they're rivals with Michigan and Michigan State. All those teams are there. I would assume this, but they've only played each other 7 times.
That's crazy.
Notre Dame Ohio State has won 5 of those.
Okay.
And I, based on all the things we said previously, it's obvious that Ohio State should win this one going away.
Yeah.
Unless a miracle happens and they for some reason the Ohio State football is extra slippery. But I think the final score of this game is going to be 34-3.
Damn. Okay.
I almost said 10. I almost said 34-10 in case it's like a pick 6 or something, but I just don't see it happen.
I was thinking 31-14, Ohio State. I just feel like somehow they'll score 1 touchdown early to make us think it's going to be a game. Then it will not be a game, and then they'll get a garbage time touchdown. That's my theory.
Could happen.
Yeah.
I feel like if Ohio State really shows up ready to play, there's absolutely nothing Notre Dame can do.
Yes, that is correct, and the most important point of this whole show. So we've come to the end, which means, PD, it's time to promote the reason why we call you the captain. PD is the owner-operator of the world's greatest low country-based boat tour company. PD, people want to come get a tour. Where do they find you? What's the name of your company? All that fun stuff.
Morris Island Charters, morrisislandcharter.com. No S. Thanks, GoDaddy.
Yep.
And you can find me on Instagram. Search Morris Island Charters. You'll find me there. And finding shark teeth, looking for dolphins, and all that kind of good stuff. So
no, you are really good at it. I'm not just saying that because I know you and love you. So please get a tour with PD. This has been fun. We've crushed it, and I'm excited about the game, but also sad that college football season is ending. But hey,
we're good this year.
And I know. I think that's what hurts the most is that we ended up being pretty good to where we could care and be happy. And now it's over with. And we're already nervous about next year. So, but that will do it for this week's episode. Appreciate you watching, listening, rating, subscribing, reviewing, and sharing. And I will catch y'all later.
Bye.